Back with you. In Focus continues tonight. The DA-led multi-party coalition says it plans to remove the Speaker of the Metro Council despite him being a member of the coalition itself. In their statement, they accuse the Speaker, COPE's Murunwa Makwarela, of refusing to call an urgent meeting to elect a new mayor. Makwarela is also being accused of aligning himself with the ANC and EFF despite COPE being part of the coalition since its inception. His decision is to schedule the meeting to elect a new mayor only on the 28th of February, which is likely to prevent the legislated budget from being passed by the deadline of the same day. The coalition says this then gives the Gauteng provincial government the opportunity to place the metro under administration. We speak now to Dr. Corne Mulder, who joins us on the line. He is with the Tshwane multi-party coalition and speaks for them. Dr. Mulder, good evening and thank you very much for your time. Your statement says the Speaker's refusal to call an urgent council meeting has led you to take some decisive action. Did he categorically mention to you that he's refusing to convene this sitting?
Let me start off by saying, first of all, I think there's something that needs to be rectified. There's no DA-led coalition in the city of Tshwane. It's a multi-party coalition of different political parties, but let me come to your question. First of all, we are committed to stay within the law and to act in the best interest of the citizens and the inhabitants of the city of Tshwane. So we are ready, after the resignation of the previous mayor, we are ready to proceed to elect a new mayor. And that needs to be done urgently because the new mayor then needs to appoint the new mayoral committee. He then has to introduce the adjustment budget, and all of that needs to be concluded by the 28th. Now, the Speaker is very much well aware of this reality and this fact. Somehow, the Speaker decided to call a meeting only for the 28th. It was pointed out to him, I did so personally, that we cannot have a meeting on the 28th and at the same meeting elect a new mayor as well as pass the adjustment budget. We need a specific meeting earlier to elect the Speaker, the new mayor, to elect the new mayor, and then do what is needed in terms of the legislation. For some other reason, the Speaker is not prepared to do that, and he sticks to the deadline to bring a meeting on the 28th. That will not solve the problem. It's a huge risk to the coalition, because we are also aware of the fact that this Premier in Gauteng, Panyaza Lesufi, on Monday evening at the opening at the State of the Province address, clearly stated that if a mayor is not elected and the adjustment budget is not passed by the 28th, he intends to put the city under administration.
Right.
We will not allow that. We need to take the necessary steps to prevent that. But in order to do so, we need a meeting, and the Speaker needs to call that meeting, and he doesn't want to do so.
So I'm just trying to clear that. You're saying, so you personally spoke to him and you said, we cannot do both. What was his response?
The mayor and the Speaker's approach was that he has set now a date for the 28th, and his advice was that we should not be worried about the fact that we cannot make the deadline of the 28th. That at the meeting on Monday, he did speak to the ANC MEC, and they said they will condone that. We cannot put the future of the inhabitants and the residents of Pretoria in the hands of an ANC MEC who allegedly said they will condone this. Not good enough. Yeah. We need clarity, and there's no reason why we cannot complete all what is expected of us to elect a new mayor, to adopt the adjustment budget. All can be done and finished before the 28th. No uncertainty, and there's no reason why the Speaker could not make it possible for us to have those meetings. And that creates a problem, and then the question arises, why is this scenario being followed? And by coincidence, it's exactly the same scenario being spelled out by the ANC Premier. And unfortunately, it is correct, COPE is part and parcel of the coalition in the city of Tshwane. But COPE was also part and parcel of the coalition in the city of Johannesburg, and we know where that ended up with Colleen Makubele working with the ANC, and is today the Speaker in a coalition with the ANC.
Yeah. So that brings us to the next question. In your statement, some are reporting that you deliberately also left the COPE brand in the number of the multi-party members that you had put there. Is that the case? Did you deliberately do so? And if so, why?
Could you just repeat deliberately did what?
In the letterhead that you used to put out this media statement, the COPE emblem is left out of there. Is that deliberate?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely deliberate. Yes, absolutely. Remember now, the speaker is the speaker, and we respect that. But he also represents a political party, and that political party is COPE. And COPE as a political party has always been part and parcel of this coalition. But if the representative of COPE does not cooperate and does not do what is decided by the coalition as a coalition, as an entity, then obviously it's a clear indication that that party seems not to want to be part of that coalition. Yeah. We cannot allow a situation where a party with one representative in a coalition government creates a situation which brings this coalition at risk and puts us at risk, and it plays directly into the hands of the ANC and the EFF. We are not going to do that unless COPE can convince us that they are serious and that they are prepared to stick to the coalition and to be loyal in terms of the agreement. We don't have any other choice. So we are determined to proceed in terms of what needs to be done, and we will protect the coalition under all circumstances.
So is it the multi-party's view that the Speaker is acting with the blessing of the party nationally, or is he acting unilaterally?
We've got no idea. It's really difficult. We've got really no idea. It's one thing for the Speaker to say that he's loyal and he sticks with the coalition. But if that is the case, then you need to do what is in the best interest of the coalition, and it's in the best interest that the coalition is not put at risk, that we're running into a situation where we play absolutely into the hands of the ANC and the Premier, who has clearly said he can't wait to put the coalition government out of power and put that city under administration. Then you can't play into that hands and create that kind of risk. Then you've got to act in terms of what is logical, what's in the best interest of the inhabitants. Why on earth won't you call a meeting of the council on Friday, which is tomorrow, that we can elect a new mayor, and then we have enough time to appoint a mayoral committee to introduce the adjustment budget and to pass it in time before the end of the month. No risk to the coalition, no risk to anybody else. That is what you should do. Then you prove that you are serious about your commitment.
Yeah. Has is it the municipal manager that you have now written to call the meeting for tomorrow?
Yes, in terms of the provisions in the Act, we then submitted a petition to the Speaker, which he was not prepared to adhere to. That's his prerogative. We will take our own steps. Then in terms of legislation, we did write to the municipal manager and to ask him to intervene in terms of Section 29 of the Act and to call a meeting. So there are all kinds of processes going on at the meantime, but we will take the necessary steps to protect this coalition. There are other mechanisms as well, and we have opted for some of those as well in the meantime.
So are you likely going to sit the meeting tomorrow to elect the mayor, or is it going to happen sometime in the weekend before the 28th?
I think it's unlikely that we will succeed in having a meeting tomorrow at this stage. We're already now on Thursday evening. Most likely we'll have a meeting early next week, or if whatever when it happens. But we will take the necessary steps to protect the coalition regardless of what it may take, even if it needs to be a court application. But we will take all the necessary steps to prevent us from being prevented to do the right thing. At this stage, we are exactly in the position we are ready to take all the necessary steps to stay within the law, but we are being obstructed. And then one starts to ask the question, what is going on around here? We know what is being said by the ANC. We know the collusion with the EFF. We know the pronouncements by the Premier. And we are not going to allow that. That is not in the interest of the inhabitants or the citizens of the city of Tshwane.
It was already not a comfortable coalition, Dr. Mulder, in terms of the numbers. And if you are saying you are now in a sense on a collision course with COPE, it means you are losing that one seat. Does it not put you in a even more difficult position?
No, it does not. COPE has got only one seat in the council out of 214. We still have a majority even without that one person. If that person then votes with the ANC, we won't have will not be in a position that we don't have a majority. What is more important is that we have a person in the office of the speakership that can be trusted in terms of acting in the best interest of the inhabitants of the city and in terms of a coalition that you want to belong to. So we are not at risk. The numbers are still a majority in any case, and we will proceed in any case.
Yeah. So will you then be calling to first hear the motion of no confidence against the Speaker, and then having to, I don't know, vote in a new Speaker and then vote in a new Mayor? Is that the process that you hope will be followed?
No, it will be in terms of the processes and the rules of the Council. So when that meeting takes place, we will first elect a new Mayor, and then we will deal with the other business of the day. And if there are motions, and if there are the motions of no confidence, they will be dealt with as well. And if that causes elections, those elections will also take place. But to us, the priority at this stage is not so much the motion of no confidence. That is just a consequential development because of the reality. The important things now is we are ready to elect a new Mayor. We do have the numbers to do so, and we are ready to stick with the provisions of the law to pass the adjustment budget. And we are being frustrated by various factors coincidentally or not so coincidentally to do exactly what is needed. And people must understand when we say, are people sometimes using these things to create a pretense to put the city under administration and then try to say, you did not do your job. We are ready to do our job. We are ready to stick within the law, but we are being frustrated to do so. But those who want to frustrate us must not underestimate our resolve. We will do what is necessary to keep the coalition in the city of Tshwane.
So do you think the Speaker has got mayoral ambitions, or does he merely want to put the city under administration?
We really don't know. I've got no idea. There are all kinds of rumors, etc. What we do know is, and we've seen the pattern in Johannesburg, and the same pattern will probably be happening in Ekurhuleni. The ANC and the EFF are cooperating, but they also have their problems. In other words, the EFF is not prepared to vote for an ANC candidate, and the ANC is not prepared to vote for an EFF candidate. So they agreed in the city of Johannesburg to bring a candidate from a small party, Al-Jamaa, and to make that person the mayor of Johannesburg, because they were both prepared to vote for that candidate. And the same is most likely going to happen in the city of Ekurhuleni, and they will most likely try to do the same in the city of Tshwane. And in that instance, who knows from which small party they would try to put a candidate forward as the new mayor. The problem is they don't have the numbers. We've got a majority. We have identified a candidate. All the parties in the coalition has pledged their support for that candidate. We are ready to pass the adjustment budget, and we are ready to do what's in the best interest of the inhabitants of the city. We must just be allowed to do our job. But the problem is there are certain parties who do not believe in democracy, who will do everything in their power to prevent us from governing and changing things for the better, because they do not really believe in democracy. They want power under all circumstances.
The Speaker has, I see, responded to some extent in some media platforms, saying that there are councillors within the coalition government who want him removed from his position. And this is your attempt at doing exactly that.
I'm not aware of councillors who want to remove him from that position. There's no reason to remove him from that position if he does what he's supposed to do. If a coalition, a governing coalition comes and says, in order to stay within the law, we request to have a meeting to fulfill our obligations. If you are loyal to the provisions of the law, and if you are loyal to your coalition and you say you support that, why would you frustrate that and not allow that? Why would you do that? So where we are at the moment, we did give the Speaker all the ample opportunities he needed to prove his loyalty in that sense. But for some or other reason, he is playing either directly or indirectly into the hands of what we know the ANC wants to achieve. I'm not going to say that he's in cahoots with them. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that the script he's following will lead us into a trap that will allow the Premier to put the city under administration. So we've moved beyond the point of individual councillors or not. The party's resolved that under the circumstances, we need to have a Speaker that will act in the best interest, and we are concerned that it's currently not the case. But that is not the priority. The priority, as I've said, is now to elect the mayor and to pass the adjustment budget.
Yeah. Do you see this playing out in the court? Because the Speaker adamant that it's incorrect, that there is no legislative requirement that the city must approve an adjustment budget in order for the city to be placed under administration. The city must fail to submit an annual budget, he says.
Yes, I would suggest that the Speaker read Section 21 again. Then he will understand that it's not the case. And why on earth would you want to play with these kind of things when you know that the ANC wants to use the pretense to intervene in the city? It's not as if we are in a position where the democratic processes are respected by the Premier and the ANC in this province. It's not the case.
Okay. Dr. Mulder, we appreciate your time. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity.
That is Dr. Corne Mulder there, the Tshwane Multi-Party Coalition spokesperson, carrying out their position. Of course, they are willing to fight for the coalition to remain in the city of Tshwane. They'll do whatever it takes, as you hear.